Monday Night Raw. It initially did start off with Nia Jax attacking Rhea Ripley, but I'm gonna talk about that later in the show, involving the match with Nia Jax and Bailey. We're gonna start with the Jey Uso promo. But before he can even get a couple words out, Gunther ends up coming out. He ends up saying that he was excited to face Jey at Saturday Night's main event, but after he saw Jey Uso's entrance, Jey Uso keeps proving him wrong. Keeps proving Gunther wrong. Keep on saying he ends up mentioning that no matter what Jey Uso ends up saying, that it doesn't matter because he doesn't follow up on his actions. And he ends up mentioning how Jey Uso comes out, coming out, hyping up the fans, acting like a mascot, and that he would expose him at Saturday Night's main event. Jey Uso responds back, ends up saying that everything Gunther says is true. He is a mascot, and the fans are his team, and that they will always be there to support him, and they're going to be there supporting him at Saturday Night's main event. And then he ends up saying that Gunther will respect him because he's the only one in the ring that has a WrestleMania main event. Then Gunther attacks Jey Uso. Jey Uso makes a comeback, gets the upper hand. Jey Uso ends up knocking Gunther out the ring, and he ends up holding the World Heavyweight Championship. This was a good segment. I enjoyed what they did here. I think it's very obvious that Jey Uso is losing though. Especially anytime when the opponent holds the championship, 99% of the time they're losing. So yeah, Jey Uso is definitely losing at Saturday Night Main Event, but nonetheless, the match should be great. I enjoyed the build up. I enjoyed the story that they're telling here as well. And I like it. I like what they're doing here. I don't really have too much to say. I'm excited for the match, and I'm interested to see what happens. After this, we end up getting Sami Zayn. Not Sami Zayn. Actually, we end up getting Kofi Kingston, actually. Kofi Kingston versus Rey Mysterio. This match was actually was supposed to happen like a few weeks ago. Originally, it was supposed to be a tag match, and it was rumored to be Penta, but they ended up changing those plans. Thank God, because we do not need Penta in the LWO nonsense. This was a solid match. Something that really confused me was that Rey Mysterio won. And the thing is, they ended up having interferences. So if you was going to have Rey Mysterio win, why did the New Day interfere? I don't understand. Why did Xavier interfere in the match and still have Kobe lose? I don't understand this. Like, I don't understand the booking of the New Day. The New Day are the biggest. Well, before I even get into my rant, afterwards, the New Day attack Rey Mysterio after the match. Then LWO comes out. Then they run away on the New Day. Then they come back and attack, I think, Joaquin Wild, and then they run away again. Okay, the New Day is the biggest tag team in your division. They have the most credibility, and they have the most hype around them. They just turned heel on Big E, and they get the biggest reactions. Why are they booked like this? They turned on Big E like a month ago, and they just finally had a match. And then they lose their first match as heels? Like, I don't understand this. Like, Rey Mysterio doesn't need this win. It would actually benefit the New Day more that they beat Rey Mysterio, a beloved babyface, then they could have attacked him afterwards. Like, I don't understand this booking. Right now, they should be demolishing the tag division, winning the tag titles, going into Mania with them. That's what they should be doing right now. I don't understand what Triple H is doing. Like, I get long-term booking, but there's really no reason to long-term book this. Like, you have the blueprint right there. I don't understand why is Kofi Kingston losing Rey Mysterio. Like, it doesn't make sense, especially now. If the New Day was baby faces, sure, I wouldn't have minded. But what, like, this is not the time for New Day to be taking L's. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this was bad. I ain't gonna lie. This was bad. There was no reason for the New Day to take a loss here. Like, the New Day should be built up as the best tag team in the division. They're like I'm sorry, like, I don't understand where they was going with this. Like, it just doesn't make sense for me. Maybe they could prove me wrong next week. I don't know, but this was just, I just don't understand why Rey Mysterio won the match, in my opinion. After this win, I'm getting Sami Zayn. He ends up cutting a promo. He ends up declaring for the Royal Rumble. Then he ends up mentioning what Seth Rollins told him last week about him constantly helping others and he needs to help himself. And then he ends up mentioning how the World Championship, how he never won it, and mentioning that he's in that top tier of wrestlers, the Drew McIntyre, the Seth Rollins, the Roman Reigns, and he says he's in that tier, but the only difference is that they all have a World Championship and he doesn't. And he ends up mentioning that he doesn't need the World Championship, but he wants the World Championship, and that he's going to win the Royal Rumble to get it. this was a really great promo. This was really good. Sami Zayn has a good way of hyping up the crowd and cutting very motivational promo. He is really good at that. But then you end up getting Kevin Owens. He ends up coming out, which was a very shock surprise. I ain't gonna lie. The promo we ended up getting between these two was very surprising because I was expecting something totally different. Kevin Owens comes out, and then Sami Zayn ends up like, look, go ahead, like, how is this going to play out? Because he's expecting KO to attack him and all that. But Kevin Owens was like, look, I'm not going to do none of that. Because Sami Zayn, allude to Cody. He was like, look, I seen how you treat Cody, so I'm assuming you're going to do the same to me. But Kevin Owens ends up saying that Cody situation is different from Sami's situation. He says that, look, you and Roman have history. And he says that we have history, and that he basically compared Roman and himself to Sami. Like, he mentioned how Kevin Owens, himself, betrayed Sami Zayn and how Sami forgave him. He mentioned how Roman treated him bad and he forgave. He kind of compared them. He compared himself to Roman and how he not betrayed them, forgave them both.
You'll
and he ends
win
up saying
the
that
Royal
that's just
Rumble.
naturally who Sami
You know
is, so
why?
he doesn't have any
Because
bad blood between them two for teaming up with Roman. But then he ends up mentioning the Royal Rumble and ends up saying that he believes in Sami Zayn. He knows Sami Zayn can win the Royal Rumble, and that he says that we already achieved one dream, which is main eventing WrestleMania and winning the tag titles. And he says that now we could end up facing each other at WrestleMania at the main event for the WWE Championship. And then he ends up saying that he got his back, their brother, their family, and then he ends up saying that he got his back and that he knows that Sami has his back. No, Sami has his back and he's going to have Sami's back at the Royal Rumble. So it's very interesting. I like the story here because Kevin Owens basically alluded to Sami is supposed to help him defeat Cody Rhodes at the Royal Rumble, and he's going to help him win the Royal Rumble, because that's basically what he said. He says that he's going to help him win the Royal Rumble, and then he basically replied back and saying that Sami is going to help him walk out as champion. So I'm going to be honest here. I may be I am a bit biased here. I'm extremely biased. I actually want this match to happen. I actually want this match for the title. I'm going to be honest. I'd rather this match than anything Cody does. I'm going to be honest here. Like, I'm extremely biased here. I will admit I'm in the minority because Kevin Owens is in my top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time, and Sami Zayn is in my top 10. So I'm extremely biased here, but I would love that story of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for the world title at Mania. I would love that story. That story would be amazing. Sami winning his first world title against his best friend. Like, that story is just perfect. I love the idea. I know it won't happen, but I just love the idea. Very interested to see how that plays out. Because I'm assuming maybe it'll be a situation where Sami just doesn't help KO at all. KO feels betrayed, and then he costs him then Kevin Owens interferes and costs Sami the Rumble. Or it could be a situation where Sami is like outside, why can I not think of the words? He's probably like outside, there for support of KO, and KO wants him to, cheat, go through heel tactics, but Sami refuses, and this causes KO to to end up attacking Sami Zayn either after the match or attack him during the Rumble. I don't know how they're going to play that story, but I'm very interested to see how that plays out, man. Afterwards, we end up getting a quick Braun Breaker versus Sheamus segment. Not going to speak too much on it. Basically, Sheamus was talking about how he wants to, win the IC title. That's the title that's been haunting him for years. Braun Breaker interrupts his interview. Basically says that, look, he needs to retire. His time is up. He's never winning the IC title. Sheamus pushes him, and that's it. Nothing too major, but they don't really need to do too much to really build this feud. The feud is very simple. They didn't really need to do too much. Braun Breaker, I think, is obviously winning, but it wouldn't really shock me if they pulled a trigger on Sheamus. But I think they're going to drag this out to Mania. I think they're going to drag this feud out to Mania, and then that's maybe when Sheamus wins it. But I'm not that confident that Sheamus will win it, in my opinion. But we'll see how this plays out. After this, we'll get Nia Jax versus Bayley. Earlier in the show, I don't know why I said match. Earlier in the show, Nia Jax ended up attacking Rhea Ripley early in the show, which will play a factor into after the match. This was a great match. The chemistry that these two have is very underrated and very underappreciated. These two have great chemistry. This was a great match. Who would have thought this would have been the best match on Raw? And this Raw had Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre, which is crazy. But yeah, this was a great match. Nia Jax ends up picking up the victory. But then after the match, you end up getting Rhea Ripley. She comes out, she attacks Nia. Them two brawl, and this brawl lasted a while. You know, it has security breaking them apart, but then the wrestlers break away from security. They brawl again. They repeat that cycle back and forth. And then this match is confirmed at Saturday night's main event. Rhea Ripley ended up getting on an announce table, basically calling Nia Jax out. So I like what they did here. I feel like it was very obvious that that match was going to be set up for Saturday night main event, especially when Nia Jax attacked her at the beginning of the show. I kind of knew that it was going to be a Saturday night's main event. I don't hate it. And Bayley is officially on the Raw roster, so interested to see where she goes on the Raw roster. Now, I am confused on Nia Jax because is she on the Raw roster now? Because this is their second week in a row on the Raw roster, and it doesn't seem like they're doing the Tiffany Stratton story anymore, which I am very confused by, because I just don't understand why Nia wouldn't go after Tiffany Stratton. So I don't know if they're completely getting rid of that story, because I don't know where you even put that story, because the only way I saw that story happening was at Saturday night's main event. Maybe the Rumble, possibly, but I highly doubt they do it at the Rumble. So if you're not going to do it at Saturday night's main event, then there's no reason to do it, because you're not going to wait to the Elimination Chamber to do it. So yeah, so it seems like they're just going to drop that story entirely, which I just don't understand. But who knows? Maybe they have bigger plans for Nia. After this, we end up getting Penta versus Pete Dunne. They put on a really good match. I actually think this match was better than the Chad Gable match. Penta ends up picking up the victory. Don't really need to go that in depth on it. I'm excited to see what he does in WWE. But I'm liking the presentation they're giving him so far, and I can't wait to see what else they do with him. We end up getting Pure Fusion Collective versus Damage Control. I was originally going to go on a rant, but the more I thought about it, the more I just don't care about this. The more I just don't care to go on a rant. So yeah, Damage Control picks up the victor. I'm not even going to go on a rant. All I'm going to say is lazy booking and end the feud. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't need to waste more time on this. Then we get the main event, Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. This was a really good match. The match did end kind of anticlimactic in my opinion, but I understood why they ended it the way they did. Seth Rollins basically ends up getting a roll-up pin on Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre ends up attacking Seth Rollins. He's constantly attacking him. He ends up putting him towards the ring post. Drew McIntyre was about to go for an attack, but then Sami Zayn comes out for this, try to come out for the save. Then you get Sami aiding Seth Rollins. He's talking to Seth Rollins, making sure he's okay. This when Drew McIntyre comes back up, and then he takes out Sami Zayn. Then they get back in the ring. Drew McIntyre is attacking Seth Rollins. He got him in the corner. He's talking to Seth Rollins, talking about how he's saying that he's selfish, that we should be on the same team. We should be going after the bloodline together, but he's selfish. They're both in the corners. Drew has Seth hold up in the corner. Sami gets back in the ring, charges up Haluva kick, tries to hit the Haluva kick on Drew, but Drew moves out the way and hits Seth Rollins, and that's how we end Monday Night Raw. This was a great show. I'm a bit confused because I don't know where the Seth Rollins, Sami, and Drew storyline could go, especially towards the Rumble. Now, I don't know where that's going to go potentially, but I am excited to see what they could do with that story. But overall, this was a great episode of Monday Night Raw. You guys let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.